In the quest to put as many A12 by 25 G2s as I can in a single build, I think I'm doing well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 on the cooler, 7 and 8. And I've got an ace up my sleeve. 9, 10, 11. Welcome to Machines and More. So you're going to need a pretty big sleeve to keep this bad boy tucked away. And I thought the Astral was a big card, but this guy makes even that card seem small. So yeah, big Noctua GPU here, big build here. It's a lot bigger than I usually do, and that had to be this way to accommodate this card. So the main goal here with this build wasn't specifically to put as many A12 by 25 G2s into it, although that quickly turned into a lighthearted side challenge. But mainly, I wanted to test out the Asus by Noctua 5080 here. So first off, big thanks to Noctua for sending by their review unit for me to check out. I am not sponsored by them. If you enjoy objective content like this, please go ahead and make sure you are subscribed. So Noctua and Asus have worked together on a few GPUs over the previous generations, and very simply, Noctua adds in their expertise in cooling for an Asus 5080 here, and that makes it an incredibly noise-optimized GPU. So the biggest difference versus most GPUs is the use of a regular PC case fan, and in my testing, the best 120mm one to boot. This is the A12 by 25 G2, and for this cooling solution, Noctua uses 3 of them. If you're familiar with the RPM offset PP sets, Noctua uses an ABA layout here to avoid any beat frequencies that some may be sensitive to. They are still in their regular frames though. They're just stock 12 by 25s G2s, and you can see that pretty clearly. The entire fan, it is designed from the ground up for acoustic optimization, so I can understand why they just kept it that way. Now, because we're using 320mm fans, it is very, very long. I guess tall here. It is 385mm. The width is 151mm, and this is a 4-slot 80mm card. Most of the thickness here comes from the very thick heatsink, and that features a vapor chamber plus 11 heat pipes. The third fan operates under an open flow-through section that vents through the backplate. And of course, it is finished in the very eclectic Noctua color scheme. They've gone with more of a dark brown on the shroud, and I think it's quite elegant. There's a performance versus quiet switch that this is equipped with, and that just governs the fan curve. For the build here, I want the SSUPD Xhuttle, which I built up when this case launched. It is a very unique case that basically showcases a GPU at the front, which I feel like this GPU really deserves. The board I built up with here is one I'll be using for some further testing on the Turbo X3D mode, and that is the Gigabyte X870E Aorus Pro Ice, which I paired with the Ryzen 9 9950X3D. That's going to be your most no compromises, do-it-all consumer socket CPU right now. Normally, I would go with an 850 watt if I'm using a 5080, but I had this one handy. This is the Pure Power 13M from Be Quiet. 750 watts will be fine for a 5080. It's a very nice power supply with a very nice fan. I did consider using the Noctua power supply, but it is too long, and I'm very much looking forward to that coming up next year. So I will note, this isn't how I would normally cool this CPU. Slightly undergunned with a U12A, but I wanted to get 2 extra 12 by 25s in here, and I got the heatsink cover just for the matchy looks. So normally a dual tower like the D15 G2 would be better in this scenario. Mainly this test build is featuring the GPU capability, so this is more than sufficient. So yeah, 6 PP 12 by 25 G2 sets, and there's another set on the U12A, and 3 on the GPU makes 11 of these, so it's good fun. Testing the card is a tiny bit beyond what is typical on your more vanilla 5080s like the Asus Prime OC. So I wouldn't expect any miracles out of the box. In fact, even the target temps that the cooler fans are set to are not vastly different. Where there is a huge difference is the amount of noise. While these small fans on Asus's Prime or ProArt 5080s are good, but they spin at close to 2300 or higher. And the Noctuas, these are high quality big fans that spin just at 1500 RPM. and they are not really audible. With the system at idle, any noise from the GPU would normally be readily apparent, but these fans are just so good. And as the temp, if the temp of the GPU drops below 50 degrees, the fans will stop running. So even if your CPU cooling is optimized to the point where their fans are hardly audible, this GPU here won't really add extra noise. So the main selling point, other than being this really unique collaboration and really unique look, is if you are really going after a noise optimized air-cooled GPU. As for the CPU cooling, like I mentioned, it's really not how it would cool the 9950X 3D usually in a case like this. It ran okay, but at a 233 watt load, the CPU was hitting the 95 degree max temp. So at a load of roughly 100 watts and a fan speed of 1600 RPM, we were okay considering the warm GPU running close by, but you know, there are better coolers for this. One question mark I have here is the pricing. It is a premium branded lower volume SKU. Asus is the one that markets this. From what I understood, it was sold at 1600 US on the Asus web store, but there's no stock right now. And I was a little surprised that they have the Tough card, which is listed at the same exact price, because between the two, I would definitely go for this one if you happen to have the space. The Astral is going to come in at about $200 higher, I think. So this actually sits in an okay price range compared to those. So yeah, the main consideration here is if you have space and if you want this much weight in your case. If you are a Noctua fan, and I don't mean an A12 by 25, and you enjoy a polish system that is tuned for noise optimization, I think you will really enjoy this card. One thing I would hope to see is a dual fan version, much like the 3070 collaboration before. 5070 or Radeon 9070 would be really fun to see from the current gen out of a future collaboration. Anyway, I hope you found this entertaining and enjoyable. Please make sure you give a like, subscribe, and big thanks for watching.